Hello, Michael. Here we are with Michael.
How you doing, Dave?
Michael Paul Stevens, the wonderful, amazing, full of wisdom man. Today we're going to talk about, he's going to talk about 5 essential tools or advice that would impart to her, that he would impart to us now that would change our lives, things that we can use at home, things that you can do anywhere. So over to you, Michael.
Yeah, thanks, Dorinda. So when you asked me this question, you kind of you didn't give that context of things that we can use
Okay.
immediately, but no, that for me doesn't matter, because I believe that if we haven't got things that we can use during our day, then there's no point to them. So all practice for me is things that you can use at any moment, at any time, particularly during a crisis. If not, what's the point? I mean, there's no point to it. It's no good having skills, having ideas that only help us when the sun is shining, right? You need an umbrella, you need a place to sometimes just to disappear into and protect yourself, sometimes a shelter, a sanctuary. There's all sorts of different uses, but if our tools of practice are not doing that for us, then I don't think they work. So that's the key for me for these 5 are really very, very simple things that we probably already know, we probably already practice, but they're good to remind us. Because I think if we do these things every day and we do them consistently, then we'll get great results from them. The first of this is just the foundation of why we're practicing and having an understanding. And we mentioned in the last video, didn't we, Dorinda, about this idea of self, about who am I? And everybody has to answer that question. Who am I? And I think when we answer that question honestly to ourselves, we realize that me, I think I am, is this jumble of experience and things I've been told and ideas that have been given to me that come from my culture, that come from my parents, that come from my religion, that come from my education, that come from my spiritual learning. It doesn't matter where it's come from. The me that I think I am, when I look in the mirror and I go, there I am, good morning me, is not real. That me doesn't exist. It exists as a barrier to everything that we really are. But it's a good barrier. It's not a negative thing. It's our ego, but it's not a negative thing. A lot of people look at the ego as the enemy, Dorinda. I don't believe that. I believe it's rocket fuel. I believe it's rocket fuel for us to use to blast off. And I think it's there for that purpose. So that when our ego pushes against something, I want to have this, I've got to have this, or I don't want this, I don't want this. As soon as it's using that energy, that comes back to us. So we see it in some shape or form. Maybe we get what we want and we realize, well, that wasn't what I want something else. And congratulations, you've learned a lesson there if you want to learn that lesson. Or you can go and do it again and again and again and again and again until you die and you haven't learned it. But that's okay too. It's up to you when you learn it. But the ego is there for a purpose. It's there for a reason. So we can see it in action. We can see how the mind connects to it, how it gets attached to things, and how that causes us suffering, how we are pained by that experience. And of course, like any experience, we can change our behavior or we can't. But this idea at the foundation of everything for me is this idea of who am I is something I'm discovering. It is not an answer I can put into words. It is not something I can write down. It's not something I can put on the CV. I cannot project it through my job. I cannot even project it through my family. I can only project it through how I'm feeling in this present moment. And that's what matters. That's the defining factor of who you are. And you can't tell that to anyone. You can say, I'm happy, I'm sad, but it doesn't really translate what you are at that given moment, that complexity, that dynamism that is your body, your mind, your energy, your spirit, and all of the other beautiful things that go together and make up a human. We cannot translate that into words. So it's a feeling. So this idea at the basis of this is, for me, number one, is just this idea, Dorinda, that we are in this constant process of discovering who we are. It's not a fixed thing. It's not a job. It's not anything we can label. And as soon as we have that mentality, our practice changes. We realize we're not trying to become, we're not trying to change, we're not trying to succeed. We're not trying to get the plaudits, to look at us and go, oh my goodness, hasn't he become so angelic and Christ-like? We're just trying to experience ourselves in the moment. And when we have that as an objective for our practice also changes. And then we get real results. We start getting real results because we're not becoming anything. We're just accepting what we are. So that for me is the crucial first point, doing it. Do you have any questions about that, or do we just want to go on for that?
I think we go. That's good. I like that. That's beautiful.
But the simple second one for me, I taught it. The first thing I was taught in terms of self-awareness is breath awareness. So the second thing for me, very, very simple, is breath awareness. How are you breathing right now? You can do that right now. Take a deep breath. Feel it. As soon as you do that, as soon as you take a deep breath, everything changes. Your feelings change. Your mind changes, your body changes, your emotion changes. You can feel it flowing through your body. You do that 5 times, there's a greater effect. You do that 10 times, there's a greater effect. So we learn from this that who I am is very closely connected to how I breathe. Now that's crazy because we were not taught that at school. I was not taught, go away into the corner and breathe yourself happy, Michael. I was told to go away in the corner and think about it. Think about what you have done. You've been naughty. Think about it. Because that bad behavior, that negative behavior must have come from thoughts, must have come because something wrong with your mind that you have to correct. Well, actually, most of our behavior is coming from our feelings. It's not coming from our minds at all. We're reacting and responding to how we feel, aren't we, doing it? So we want this because we really desire, so we go out and get that. Or I don't want this, I'm really angry and frustrated. I push it away. I get violent. I get violent in my mind and I react. So most of it is coming from that. And then when we take that deep breath and we reset our body and our mind, just in that moment, we've taken action. We've taken mindful action. And oh my goodness, what a success that is. What a success that is. How many times have you done that? Probably not many, because you're not taught to do it and you don't think it's important, but it changes everything. It resets you. And it gives you the ability to be mindful for a second. And when you are mindful, options open up for you. It's not just revenge. It's not just get it or throw it away. It is what would be best for me? What would be best for the people around me? What are the results of this if I do this? Mindfulness then creates the space to be able to react and respond in a more conscious way. So for me, the breath is number 2. The most important practice I've ever learned is following our breath. Now you can do that for 20 minutes, you can do it for 5 minutes, or you can do it just like we've done it, just when we have some emotion, take a deep breath. We even use that in our culture, don't we? Take a deep breath, Dorinda. I know you're upset. Take a deep breath. Take 5 deep breaths. And we say that to each other because we know it works. So use it. And that for me is number 2, the most important thing.
Yep, I love that one.
The third one is very, very close to this for good reason. It's thought awareness. It's thought awareness. And I met a guy in UK about, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years ago. Dave Lee, his name was. And he's still out there now, and you can find him on Facebook. And he puts out some great videos. It's really, what he teaches is really, really simple. And for a long while, I thought it was too simple to be profound. And then I realized it's one of the most profound things that I've ever learned, is that your thoughts come from nowhere. Forget your thoughts. Your thoughts are not you. Stop reacting and responding to your thoughts. Your thoughts are just seeds that have been popped into your head through this process of continually connecting to them as that's me, so I've got to react to them, right? Something pops into my mind from the past. I've got to do something with that, right? Because it's me, me talking to me. Why am I still upset about so-and-so from 5 months ago, or that thing that didn't happen, or that thing in the future that creates fear or sadness, and it creates this emotion when we think about it. But actually, it's just a passing energy coming to fruition that is nothing to do with you, the real you. It's to do with your ego. But why should you give food and energy to your ego? That's the thing you're trying to observe and to let go, because that's the thing that creates most of your suffering in this world. So thoughts, when they pop into your mind, just say to yourself, that is not me. Let it go. That's all you need to do. That is not me. Let it go. Do that 100 times a day, and your thoughts will begin to calm down, and you'll stop connecting to that thought, seeing the time that it came from, the energy of the emotion surrounding it being recreated because you now started to think about it. Now that you've thought about it, that energy is in your body, it's changed your mood, it's changed your me, it's changed your ego. You're now upset about something that's not even there just because your mind decided to go. So this whole idea of finding for ourselves some form of practical peace in our lives. The third thing is stop reacting and responding to your thoughts. They are not you. They're really nothing to do with you, except that you sowed some seeds some years ago, or whatever it happened to be. You water them and they pop up in your mind. Now, don't water them anymore. You don't want them to keep coming back. So stop watering them. Stop giving them energy. They are not you. They are just passing reactions.
That's really powerful. I love that. Good.
Yeah, so you can see also how breath awareness and thought awareness, those two are so intimately connected.
I really like that. That is not me. No. That part, just that part, using that every day. That is not me. The thought comes in, that is not me. I love it. I can feel that. That's
from Dave. And Dave's been teaching that for years. And I thought, again, it's too simple just to ignore your thoughts. And then I thought, it makes so much sense. It's just, it's obvious, but it's brilliant. And it's absolutely brilliant. If you make that part of your practice, you will have profound response in your life. Mm. The fourth one, again, it's very simple. It's very obvious. But this is where I have fallen down over many years. So I know this to be true. And I know from my teachings page, the teachings of Michael Paul Stevens, that it's also true, because we get a lot of people come on to the page. They look for inspiration and they read something, a quick pithy statement that we put out there to motivate people today. And they're motivated by it. And then that motivation, as you know, Dorinda, it can die down very, very quickly because it's just a fleeting energy, really. It's just a thought. As soon as we meet the next problem in our life, you're not thinking about that pithy statement that you read on Facebook. You're thinking about that idiot in front of me who just banged into your car or just stole the last box of cornflakes from the supermarket, or whatever it is, whatever you're getting upset about. It doesn't matter. So the only thing that's going to affect that situation in the future is not learning pithy things or having great knowledge. It's practice. It's regular practice. So while during the course of our day, taking a deep breath, letting go of our thoughts is the fruits of practice, there has to be practice to have fruits. So for me, having a practice set into my diary in the morning and in the evening is the foundation of how I can practice throughout the course of the day. Now, you don't have to do it twice per day. I do it that time because I have particular practices that I like to do in the morning. And then I do a walking meditation in the evening because my mind is more active by that point. And when I walking meditation, it takes that into account, and it's a good practice for my state of mind. Mm. So I do a sitting in the morning and a walking in the evening, usually 20 to 30 minutes on each case. Now, the point is not how long you're doing or how many times, but that you have a commitment to this discovery of who I am, because that is what your practice is about. Your practice is not about becoming Buddha, becoming Christ, having this massive breakthrough. That may happen, great for you if it does, but the point of your 20 minutes in the morning is for the other 23 hours and 40 minutes during the course of the day. That's why we're practicing. So that when we meet that event, we have it in our mind, well, I practiced mindfulness with breathing in the morning, and I did it for 20 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever my practice was. I practiced loving kindness in the morning. I did chants about love in the morning, whatever your practice happens to be. So now I meet that person who I think is an idiot in my life. I can practice loving kindness with them because I'm mindful of it. I'm mindful of that person I'm meeting. But if I don't do my practice in the morning, I'm more likely just to respond to that person, and then I'm in my pattern of emotion, of ungroundedness, of unrestedness, and I've lost it for however long it takes me to calm down, which could be hours. So the point of practice is to be able to use that throughout the course of the day. And I have found, and I don't know if it's true with you, that when I don't do that practice, it messes me up. It messes me up. And I've thought for years actually that I could get away without doing it, and I could just practice mindfulness. I dread to think what I would have done if I hadn't also practiced the mindfulness without the practice. But the practice alone just ramps up everything. It builds up a momentum, and it shows yourself that I am committed to a practice which is about me. We spoke of the selflessness in the last video. Find some me time, find some you time, because that's the time that you give to yourself. And then the other 23.5 hours when you're giving to other people, you do that with greater mindfulness. In my opinion, Dorinda, you cannot make much progress at all unless you are putting in a regular practice. So for me, that regular practice is absolutely crucial, and is a failing, I think, of people who become bored with it or think they're not making a success with it or give up on it. And they will then fall back into a routine very, very easily, which will make more trouble for themselves during the course of their life. So regular practice, number 4, is one of the most crucial things.
I'm totally in 100% agreement with that. Regular practice.
And again, connected. These are all connected. And again, it comes back to what we were doing during number 5, when we had the circle of 8 and we had the regular share circles.
The gatherings,
Number 5 is find a group. Find a group. For goodness sake, find a group. Find someone, a group of people you can connect to, who share your values, who share your practice, who have something that they can give and teach to you, and will move you and challenge you a little bit every week, at least every week. If you can do it every couple of times a week, fantastic. If you do it every day, even more fantastic. Whatever time commitment you want to put in. Because for me, it's a very, very lonely path, because it's about you. You're working on yourself. And if you don't have other people around you to say, oh, listen, Dorinda, I did this meditation and it was an absolute mess. I completely screwed it up. And Dorinda will say to me, Michael, no meditation is a mess, blah, blah, blah. And even though I need that, I know that I need to hear it from another person. And when you hear it from another person, you remember the world seems better again. You realize you're not crazy, and there are people around you to support you. It's so, so important for me is to have people that understand where I am, who I am, what I'm looking for, and to be able to sometimes knock me up around the head if I need that, to get back on the rails and into the right rhythms. And other people are the best people to do that. You can't always self-medicate, so to speak. You can't always self-inspire. You need other people to do that and to boost you and to give you that little injection of faith and passion and energy. And there is no other way of doing that than joining a team of people, a group of people that can help you do that. So find a share circle, find a yoga group, find a meditation group, find a Tai Chi group, Qigong, whatever it happens to be, but stick to it and stick with those people. It may be that you outlive or outgrow those people, fine, but then you'll need another group to move on to. Be conscious of where you're at and who you need around you. And if it's in a group that is not working, that's not doing it in the right way, don't be afraid to cut that out. Cut out that stuff and get it out of your life. Don't stick with it just because it's always been there, because they've always been a part of your group, because you have some so-called friends. If they're not helping, if they're really negative vibes or anything like that, cut them out, because some group will come along that does serve your needs. That's what the universe does. And when we're ready for it, moving on and making that decision to either find a group or to cut out a group, that will work. The universe will see that and it will react and respond to that. So those 5 things for me are the foundation. Number 1, know who you are. Have that in context with everything that you do. Number 2, breath awareness. You practice it in the morning, perhaps as part of your practice. I always do breath awareness, even if I'm doing something else, or I'm doing a metta or a loving kindness, or I'm doing bodily awareness, I'm doing earth, fire, air, water meditation, depending on what I'm doing. I'll always begin with a bit of mindfulness with breathing, so I can take that into my day. Thirdly, thought awareness. It's not you. It's not me. The thought that comes up is not me. Just keep telling yourself that. Don't react and respond to it emotionally. That will help an awful lot. 4th, regular practice. Put it in your diary. And number 5, find a group that will serve your purposes and inspire and motivate you to keep going.
Thank you, Michael. That's so inspirational and so much wisdom for everybody to practice. Get into it, refine themselves. Thank you for your time and energy.
Well, welcome.
And everyone will be able to find your page as well. And thank you all for listening, and I see you for you. I hope you see you too. I'm just going to stop.